Steven and Melanie for nominating me for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. I'd like... I knew that was going to happen. You didn't even nominate anyone.
The thing.
Wow.
We good to go?
Yeah.
The Zoom's all good?
Everything's recording.
You want to start it out?
Um,
Or do we just want to go?
I mean, do we want to just start talking? Like, in a sense of, you just got back yesterday,
Yeah.
and
It's weird having the Zoom, the
lab.
Yeah.
We're not talking into anything.
we should just hold hands.
I'll just hold the mic. But, yeah, so you left for, what was it, like 3 weeks?
3 weeks. It was Wednesday to Wednesday, May 8th to the 29th.
We did Top Golf before,
Yep.
and then you
That's-
realized you had it. Didn't you mess up your leaving date when you were about to go?
Yeah, that was a bit of an issue, and that was very much a Brad move. But yes, I thought I was leaving on Thursday. Then I thought I was leaving on Thursday, and it was actually Wednesday. But it is what it is. I don't really know if there's anything that needs to be explained there. But
Speaking of like Brad moves and things like that, and Andrew and I were talking about it a little bit, but do you want to start like explain the story of or what we consider a Brad story?
Yeah, we'll let
Get to
him
the
tell
origins.
it, and maybe
why does Brad have to explain what a Brad story is?
I mean, I don't know why you would.
It's a story that basically I was thinking about mentioning this before we started, but it's a sentence or a story that I start and I have no idea where it's gonna end, how it's gonna end, and in the process of that, there's just a lot of unnecessary words with no plot, no point, and that's basically what a Brad story is.
Yeah, no, we talked about this yesterday in the car ride. Just how if you were talking about one thing for too long, we were just going to cut you off. And I would say one factor of a Brad story is the ending is usually, yeah, that's the end of the story.
and that's it.
Usually a story you should know when the end is approaching or when the end has concluded, but
Yeah, so just that, I guess that's the disclosure of.
And we've gotten on Brad for this because he'll tell this story for 10 minutes in like so many details. We're exhausted. And then it's just and then I got there.
yeah.
And we're just like, what? And so we got on Brad. But
That's been a year. That's been years that you guys have gotten on me.
That's what
I
like,
think it's helped quite a bit.
when
that's what we were saying.
When I was driving, like on the way over here, I was like, dang, this is pretty cool that the three of us are going to sit down and do this podcast. Like, I mean, I feel like the OGs of like the big group.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking a lot about the 10-day road trip that we went on.
Yeah, I like to mention that whenever.
My
we can.
cot.
You fucking cock. Fuck off.
Yeah, no, I was explaining that trip to somebody recently, and just how each one of us had our moments where like we were so pissed at everyone else, and the other two would just pile on. Like Josh's when he was driving, like when he thought he was going to go forward and he was in reverse. Like after we left.
Remember when I had the headlights on at the campsite? And I'm flashing this person's tent for like 5 minutes? You're freaking out.
Yeah, no, that was Traverse City, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not going to see a meteor shower. Then you guys got caught in the rain.
That's right.
Yeah. What was my thing? I don't remember being overly pissed about anything. I definitely remember you not going to the meteor shower. We were cracking up about how pissy Andrew was.
Yeah, it was just fun. Yeah, it was a funny dynamic. And we had that SUV packed. Sedan. That
No, that was a Suburban. That was no sedan.
No, you're right. Suburban.
Not a sedan.
That's the word I was looking for.
So yeah, I guess like we'll talk about. You want to say so? It was 3 weeks in Russia, right? Just like thinking back the whole thing, like what was the biggest misconception you had pre and post? Because obviously you go with expectations.
I tried to remove any expectations as possible, but with that being said, you're obviously going to have some kind of previous influence or thoughts about it. The one thing I guess I could touch on is like going into it, there was the professor made it known that like the Russian people, they don't smile. So like if you're walking down the street and you like, if we're walking down the street in the U.S., you smile at the person and they'll typically smile back, or at least there's that expectation. In Russia, that is like non-existent. So with that, just going in with that knowledge, I was a little bit like, oh, the Russian people are going to be very like stern, serious people.
Standoffish. Or
Yeah,
something.
kind of. Yeah, standoffish is a good word. And that was like not true at all. They're very, especially in St. Petersburg. I mean, we can talk about the differences between St. Petersburg and Moscow a little later, but yeah, the Russian people are very like helpful, willing to help you, and just like kind-hearted and kind of loving and fun-loving people. And so yeah, just how kind they were versus my conception or expectation of the standoffish effect was
and
probably the biggest.
So you got there, it was probably like a 12-hour flight or something like that?
Yeah, it was 9 hours to Frankfurt and then 3 hours to St. Petersburg. So yeah.
And so you got there, and then you had your room or hotel or whatever for 3 weeks, and it was that one place, or
Same. So we were there. We were at the same hotel for a week and a half, and then we took a train to Moscow for like the second weekend that we were there. So that broke it up a bit, and then we came back, and then the last week and a half was at that same hotel.
Okay.
And we put that hotel through a ringer. There was we took them all to our third. We were on our third strike, and
wow.
yeah, with the noise complaints and stuff.
Wow. So was that kind of the party room? People always came to your guys' room?
Not our room.
Oh,
Come on now. No, it was kind of spread out. We tried to like hop room to room, but like we were all, especially the second half, we were all on like the same floor, but there was also like 4 or 5 rooms that weren't ours, like just regular people. So, like, if we were pre-gaming for a night out, everybody would just be hopping in and out of rooms, and
That's pretty cool.
It was a mess, but yeah, it was a good time. The one thing I did not expect, I guess I could touch on, is how close I got with the people that I went with. So we're in a group of 18 people.
Dude, I agree. And I'll go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we were in a group of 18 people, and I didn't really know anybody. The only people I knew going in were Spencer Weinman and Tate Ryder. Those guys we know from school. They're buddies with Dave. And yeah, just very quickly, we got very close.
Clicks.
And I was expecting like there to be like cliques, and I wouldn't talk to like 4 or 5 people. Or
I just choked on that water. Keep going.
So yeah, that was probably the biggest surprise was how close I got with everybody. And it seemed like in each meal you sat with somebody different, got to know somebody else's story.
No, that's awesome. And I think it might even be partially like that mentality of people that do a trip like that is just, for some odd reason, you're looking to make friends almost no matter what.
Yeah.
Because the trip would kind of stink if you had no one to hang out with, chill with.
You're totally right.
And in going like studying abroad and stuff, I also felt that you're put in such an intense environment. Mm-hmm. You're put in this place where you have no idea what anything is like. And when you're around everybody that is in that same thought process, it's that bond, like that fight or flight bond. And it's far reaching, but it's almost like when they say in military, when you're put in just these such extreme circumstances that you just become brothers with these people, or whatever that might be, and in a degree, I think that's what those trips are kind of like.
Going off of that, just how quickly people are looking to open up, like how quickly people are looking to get to like a deep conversation. Just about anything, but you don't have the same conversations that you do at Michigan State versus a study abroad trip where you're experiencing something new like that. I just wasn't expecting that. I was really pleasantly surprised by how quickly people were comfortable with opening up and comfortable with telling you a little bit about themselves.
I think it's also like the type of person that will go to a study abroad in Russia.
Yeah,
is a person that's like open-minded.
For sure. Yeah, you're totally right. And I've been thinking a lot about that. Like what kind of person?
Were all these people from Michigan State?
Yeah, they were all from Michigan State. Although I thought, because I learned about it and it was like through the finance department, so I thought all of them were going to be finance majors. and I'd say only maybe a third, if that, was finance majors. But mostly everybody else was supply chain,
Sure.
human resources, etc.
How are the classes?
Oh yeah. Easy.
Yeah, it was basically an abroad, like a trip abroad. I don't know
How many credits was it?
It was 6 credits, but so I took Finance 451, which is international finance, and that's kind of like a little bit more like serious elective that if you were
Sure.
to take it at state. And then the other one was 491, which is special topics in business, which is like can mean kind of anything. And so for the 451, because that has a little bit more concepts to get through and whatnot, we had 2 or 3, I think 3 classes before we left for Russia.
Oh,
so
wow.
back at
Okay.
state. So
Okay.
during that spring semester. But when we were in Russia, the material was pretty like, it was very just basic. And what I really liked about it, and I liked my professor's approach to it. And he has a lot of like, he comes from like real world experience. He's not like a career academic. And one thing he really was expressing was he hates like explaining theories, like business theory and whatnot. He'd rather just tell you like what you need to know, what actually like makes a difference or has an impact. So he did it like when we did have class, it was like useful, and he talked about like mistakes that companies make, how to avoid those mistakes, and how they can better conduct themselves. So I definitely enjoyed the classes. As far as the like material and the
It was very financy.
no. It was very broad. I would
That's
say.
okay.
It was
That's what
it was
it's-
considered finance, but it's very broad.
Any
the-
things with like the culture of Russia that you're working into with the classes?
Yeah, totally. Like that
Okay,
was
okay.
mainly like what the especially in the 491 class, which is it was special topics in business, but with us going to Russia, it was like focused on Russia. So it was like,
Totally.
what businesses do you see more in Russia versus the U.S.? Like different business practices, those sorts of things. Do they use more cash versus card?
Got you.
Did you pick up any of the language? Do you know anything?
Yeah.
Как вас зовут?
What's that mean?
What's your name?
Oh, okay, Andrew.
Меня
Josh.
зовут Brad. That's I am. And what I like about it is it's not my name is, it's I am called.
Nice. I kind of like that.
I like that too. I'm called.
And
So I very very little, but
Yeah, I mean it's a hard language.
on the flight there, I sat next to a lady from from Ukraine, and I should have brought him. I could have like showed it on the camera, or whatever. But she helped me make flashcards and whatnot, and she walked me through like some of the pronunciations. Like I can't do it, but rolling your R's is huge in that. And then like what I didn't realize is like Russia is it's a very like pretty language, like soft language. So like an example of that would be like toilet, like your L's are like liet, like very soft. So she was explaining like those sorts of things. But I wish I would have like continued to learn the vocabulary. Like I learned like the basic phrases, спасибо, that's thank you, пожалуйста, that's please, добрый день, good day, доброе утро.
Do you know what shut up is?
Oh dang, no, I
You
don't.
please shut up in Russian.
Dang, no, I don't know.
What was the cuisine like?
It was amazing. It's a big city. So in St. Petersburg,
Did they have McDonald's?
they do have McDonald's, and McDonald's was. I had my first
Awesome.
McChicken. I've never had a
Was
McChicken.
it good?
Delicious.
Were
Have
you
you had
sober?
a McChicken?
No, I don't think so.
See, you haven't had a McChicken.
Were you sober?
No.
Okay.
But
It
doesn't matter.
The McDonald's was so
Okay.
much better in Italy, like way higher quality.
really,
Actually, good meat, and like I had a egg sandwich thing in the morning, and it was delicious.
so
Buttered and everything.
I would say the Russian version of that is KFC. KFC is amazing.
That's hilarious.
But it's the same thing. Like it's like you can totally
Yeah.
tell it's a different quality. They just do a better job. So KFC was big over there. The cuisine in St. Petersburg, though, like that city it's the cultural capital of Russia, and very like like artsy oriented.
You said like Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I would compare it to that. I haven't been to Austin, so
Yeah.
I can't compare it. But like, I can't like give like a personal comparison.
I love that.
But it's like what I would imagine it to be.
That's funny.
But yeah, but as far as the cuisine, that has nothing to do with the cuisine. But what's interesting there is, so there's restaurants everywhere, and a lot of them, like in America, if you're going to a restaurant, you're either going to like Italian or you're going to whatever nationality you're going to. In Russia, you go to a restaurant and they have this huge menu, and it's got sushi, pizza, steak, pasta, like it's got it all. And whatever you get is going to be good.
Is there like Russian food?
There is. I mean, we went to a Russian.
What are those things like?
It's very like think like hearty, like cold
like a
weather
bun.
place. So big over there is it's called borscht. It's beet soup. That's like a huge soup and a staple in Russian cuisine. I had.
Were things like vodka really cheap or
Yeah, I should have
certain
bought
alcohols?
a bottle of have you heard of Beluga vodka? So I guess it's
I've heard of beluga whales.
Nice.
so it's this Russian vodka, and if you get it in America, it's like I think it's like $130 for a fifth, and over there they had it for like 25.
Wow.
Yeah,
And-
what's the currency exchange like?
Yeah, so everything's a lot. I was expecting, so food is like very cheap. Like your meals, you can get like a ton of. You can get like 2 lunches and a soup or something for
Were you
like.
gonna say a shit ton?
He was gonna say a shit ton.
Yeah, but it wasn't the right word. It
Not for
wasn't-
food.
I guess yeah, you didn't know. But so food was very cheap. Like you could get a lot of food for like $10. If you're trying to just have like a breakfast or like a regular lunch, you're looking at like $6 to $7.
That's cool.
Nice.
So yeah, it was nice eating. But like the actual goods, like if you were to go to the mall and buy like a shirt or something,
How much was your shirt?
Yeah.
this was 25. Actually, they were cheap.
not
The one
terrible.
thing I would say wasn't different was shoes, because I wanted to get shoes over there, and I was like, because I heard
Joe.
our friend Joe, he was saying he bought shoes for like that would have been 120 here for like 60.
Yeah, I mean,
so
he
that's
wasn't
what I
in
was
Russia
expecting.
though.
I know, but I would have
Yeah.
thought it was like
Isn't it
similar.
like Germany?
No.
Uh,
But good try.
Belgium?
I don't
No,
know.
I think it's Croatia.
See, Russia, He wasn't in Croatia.
No, I can't remember.
He was in
where it
Croatia?
Croatia.
No.
He was in some Turkey.
Oh.
But they like I got a nice jacket.
My gym.
Oh,
that was
I want to
cheap.
see that.
It was a bomber jacket. It was pretty. That was I think $25 too. Like it was pretty cheap. But yeah, the currency. So it's $1 is 65 rubles.
Okay.
So it's like you're paying like you buy
Yeah.
a lunch would be like 600 to 800 rubles.
What do
My-
you think about communism?
So it's not really like.
No, I actually do have a serious question.
Yeah.
Like I heard from someone that you can't take pictures of like government buildings. Is that true?
I read that too.
Did you?
I didn't go by too many government buildings.
Isn't the Kremlin in Moscow?
Yeah,
Did you not see it?
I did, but that's like I mean, it's right in Red Square. There's people that have to take pictures of Kremlin. Yeah, I would say it'd be more of like if you went to like the Ministry of Defense, maybe you can't take a picture of that. But it's not like they have guards out there monitoring who takes a picture and who doesn't.
Yeah.
But I didn't really think that was a huge deal.
I want to turn the spotlight to Andrew and ask him, just in a sense of, Brad and I have now been on the other side of the pond.
Yeah.
When are you doing something like that?
Yeah,
Is there
my
any-
flight's in 20 minutes. No, yeah, I was actually just talking to Brad about this. Maybe like in the fall or springtime, probably the fall is when I'd like to do a few month trip. That book Vagabonding is sitting on my dresser, and that's my next to read, and it's all about like long-term travel. So I'd like to do that, and I probably could have done a study abroad, but I think part of what I want to do when I travel is like really have to go out of my way to meet either other people that are traveling or like locals. But not to say that the experience of the study abroad isn't also cool, but yeah. So I mean, I would love to leave the 248.
Yeah. It's cool.
It's very useful. Like, what I guess I'll share like my biggest takeaway, what I enjoyed most about it.
Eventually.
But just like because that was my first time staying in one place for an extended period of time. 3 weeks was a good amount of time to get a feel for the country that you're in. But just to like observe a different culture, and you first get to like understand how they act and conduct themselves and whatnot, and then you get to decide, all right, is that useful or is that not useful? And it's like that Bruce Lee, like take what is useful and discard what is not. But like I found myself kind of like, oh, I really like how they do that.
Like, what are specific examples of that?
So Russians are they're very to themselves people. They're like I was talking to my professor and kind of could observe it a bit, but there's like no gossip in Russia at all. Like there's not like chit chatter about the latest drama, whether your sister is going out on a date with that guy or if that guy's right, whatever. There's not really gossip in Russian culture. So I really like that. I really liked the no smiling thing. Like it,
all right, bro.
It was great. Like it was great because it totally takes the like social pressure off. Like I feel like in America, I found myself when I was in Russia, looking back on America and thinking of all like the social pressures or expectations that kind of go along with our culture, whether that be like, and I mean like I think it's in Russia too, but like holding the door open for somebody or like smiling, or I should have had or been prepared for like more social pressures or whatever, but like those are kind of removed and they're not expected. If you do them, that's great. If not, all right, I'm just gonna go about my day, and it's that they don't get pissed at you. They don't make a snarky comment. No, yeah. They don't throw you a smirk or whatever. So
and everybody's just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah, it's just like they're very to themselves. I'm gonna get where I need to go. They care about their family. Obviously, they love spending time with their family. They're very close with their family, but they don't share their lives with a ton of people.
And that's one thing I even noticed. It's a sense of like, right now I could be in the middle of the street, hundreds and hundreds of people crossing by me, whatever it is, and I could do 30 push-ups, and I don't know if anyone would even look at me. And there's something.
Are you talking in Detroit?
no, sorry, I should have specified. I meant when I was in Italy.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, I'm just saying, everybody was in their own path, doing their own thing, and just the way of, no one really cares what you're doing. No one's going to judge you for anything you do, and it's oddly empowering. Being in a place where you really could just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, like, based on the international culture or just, like, large cities, because New York is like that.
Really?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, I totally get what
that's
you're
a
saying.
good point.
But was there anything about like American culture that you were over there and you're like, oh, I miss this, like besides missing us?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't think about that too much.
Was it
Now's your time.
What cravings or anything? Even it sounds like they had every food, so I guess.
I would say the one thing. So the first meal I had, and I was kind of craving it, was like a salad. Sounds crazy, but like. The salad is not a huge thing, or if you do, it's the most expensive thing on the menu. And I was also happy. Fruit's not a big thing there either. Like they just
the climate.
Yep.
Totally.
Do they have Culver's?
No, they don't. They did not have that. That's my next stop, I think, as well. But
That's funny.
the culture thing though is an interesting thing. I'd have to. I don't think there's. I think I was so like, I'm here for this amount of time. I want to totally absorb this culture. And kind of focus on that. So I didn't find myself like missing America, but I the thing I missed most was you guys and like the summer, the looking forward to how this summer's gonna play out, which I'm excited about.
And so I really want to ask, and Andrew and I were talking about it, like you did it one time and never really said anything about it to us. and then now you've skydived twice. And so we're just like, what is it like? Like, just to tell, like,
Yeah.
if you can tell a brief synopsis of what
Oh.
kind of.
It's
It's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
you would recommend anybody
Just
to
walk
do
walk
it?
me through like what you're saying to yourself for the first time you're about to skydive, and then the second time too.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay, so the first time, I really liked how I played it my first time. I was at
pat yourself on the back.
I was at state, and I was meeting my family there. Like, they were at home and they were gonna drive up, and I was driving from state. And I just I tried not to think about it as much as possible. And I did a good job of that. Like, I kind of showed up, walked on the plane, and
I'm jumping.
yeah, I'm jumping, but like, it was about I don't know, the plane ride's at maybe 10, 15 minutes. At about the 5-7 minute mark, you're like, holy crap, I'm about to jump out of a plane right now.
That is crazy.
And that's when you start to, like, this thoughts kind of creep up.
Hands get a little sweaty.
And then they opened the door, and like a first group went out. So there was probably like 5 people that went out, and that's when you're like, oh shit. And then they close the door, and you go up a little bit higher, and then and in the first jump, I was the last one off the plane, so I got to see my dad go over, a bunch of other people go over, and then my sister go over, and then I followed my sister out. And that was just a crazy experience. I'm really glad I got to like see them go, because it was pretty crazy. In Russia, it was fantastic. Like, I was a lot more calm. Like, you start to look around the plane a bit. Or that's what I tried to do. And you look at these guys, and they're like posted up on the plane, just like chilling. They're chit chatting, making jokes with each other, and just try to like feed off of that energy a bit. And you realize, like, these guys, like the guy I went with has done 5,000 jumps.
Oh my.
5,000. So like, understanding that it's like not a big deal, or at least that's how they view
To
it.
an extent.
And yeah, like, to an extent, like, it's obvious, like, there's a reason why that they do it that many times.
Sure.
And just so you're able to like get out of your own head, because that like, if you're all freaked out and psyched out, that takes away from the experience.
Yeah.
Like, because
I
then after, you're like, holy shit, what did I do? I forget what the free fall was like. But if you go in and like
Panicking.
totally open minded, like, I'm just gonna absorb this experience.
See, what screwed me out is he's not talking about the actual jump.
So
Have you seen the Bert Kreischer thing during his stand-up special on how he did a skydive? And how he talks about how you can have like 2 mentalities. The whole time you can just be shitting your pants, freaking out.
Yeah.
And he had the mentality. I think he did it shirtless too. I jumped out of the plane, but
I'm
he
surprised.
just did the whole like bucket mentality and
Yeah.
just went crazy
Yeah.
with it in a sense of, if I die, I die, but I'm going all out because I'm
Yeah.
too committed. In
no,
a
yeah,
sense.
it's great. Like, yeah, you are definitely screaming and like
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
do you
what-
actually want to tell us what it's like when you're flying through the air
Yeah.
towards the ground?
Okay, so
Not
it
just
is,
the breath.
it is like, it's a great feeling. Probably like, you get to the edge.
not
I don't know
just
how
like-
to explain it.
Okay,
though.
Brad. So you're on the edge,
Yeah,
and then
you're looking at the earth.
you're
How
in
does
a
the Earth
plane.
look?
You're in
Flat?
a plane. Good point. In a plane that is like, oh, this is flying, but then you're the one that's flying. So what are you saying to yourself when you first fall off of it, off the edge? Nothing.
You're like, yeah, there's not really anything to say. I mean, maybe you have like you say oh shit once, and then you're like, yeah, you just kind of, like, a lot of people, they say they can't breathe for the first couple of seconds. So yeah, it kind of takes your breath for a minute. But then you just like in Russia, what was cool is I was flying like at clouds. So seeing the clouds mixed
that's
with
crazy.
the ground
the clouds.
was very very cool. And yeah, you're just like wide-eyed, absorbing the experience. And then
that is so crazy.
It is.
and then the parachute opens, and it goes from, it sounds like you're in a wind tunnel when you're flying, and then the parachute opens, and it's instantly
And it's a yank.
dead silent.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of a yank, obviously, because you're
No,
going
no,
from-
totally. I wasn't sure how hard it was.
It's not like anything that kills you or nothing.
I hope not.
And then the parachute opens, and flying over St. Petersburg was crazy. Versus like,
So you flew over the city?
no, we were like out of like
But you could see it?
we were around the Baltic Sea. But yeah, you could see the city, you could see the Baltic Sea, and you could see like forest. So those three like combinations of seeing like green, water, and city, it was a magical experience.
Yeah.
But,
So funny you mentioned Bert Kreischer. He has a pretty funny story about being in Russia on a study abroad.
yeah.
I don't know if I've heard that.
Oh,
The
what?
Machine.
Oh, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm definitely. Okay,
So,
sorry.
Is there anything comparable that you can think of that you are willing to talk about?
I definitely did not have a Bert Kreischer like drinking on a train for hours and hours. I would say though, my mom's not gonna be too happy about this story, but at one of the clubs that we went to, I think it was our first night there, like a Friday night there, whatever. I lost my ID and I didn't know it, but I lost my ID, and I was just walking around the club, and some guy comes up to me and gives me back my
grabs your head.
gives me back my ID, and I was like, holy! And it was like a security guard.
So was this your passport or your?
No, not my passport.
Okay,
Just
it was just your
Michigan
license.
ID, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, thank you, I appreciate it. Like, you guys are the greatest, whatever. Happens again.
Oh my god! Where was it?
It
your
was in my
wallet?
wallet. Yeah. But I don't know how I lost it, or because I switched like after that night. I switched how my cards were arranged. So it must have been like with my.
Was it the same guy?
No. So they no. So I lost it again, and I didn't find it this time until I was leaving, and I was like, I left, and then I was just kind of sitting in a corner in front of the bar, looking up like the route home, and the bouncers that are outside, they do like a double take on me, and I'm like, what's up, guys? Like,
It's the Brad Austin.
yeah. I'm like, what's going on?
I know.
And and another guy, like that bouncer goes against another bouncer. I should say security guard. Bouncer, I don't like that word. But he gets another security guard. That guy comes out, and he goes, "Where's your ID?" And I go, "It's in my phone." I pull it, because that's what it was. I was in the back of my phone.
Yeah.
And I pull it out, and it's completely empty.
Jeez.
And I go, "It's not there." and he like goes back for a second, and comes back with my ID. And I'm like, thank you, whatever. I shake all their hands, and they're all smiling and laughing. And that ended up being like our home base club. Like, we went there multiple times. So so I like every
After
time.
class, going to the
No. But every time we went there, I like all the security guards. I would dap them up, and just like I would chit chat with them for a bit. Like, we got so familiar with like all the bartenders and the security, or I got familiar with the security guards there, and
I
They're
did.
kicking him out.
no. They actually kicked out a guy for us that was like kind of like stalking our group
Brad
a bit.
Take care of him.
Kind of. No. Yeah, kind of. We were singing karaoke, and
Slipped him a 20.
he stole like the mic from me and just started like he was belligerent.
What song were you singing?
I think "Don't Stop Believing."
No, nice.
That's Bon Jovi. So, I think we were singing Bon Jovi though, so it might have not been Don't Stop Believing.
I don't know. That's what
That's
you're losing.
it's hold on, Journey.
Yeah, that's who sings it. That's who it was? It was Don't Stop Believing?
It was either that or a Bon Jovi song.
What were you singing like?
How was your voice?
Fantastic.
No, like,
Of course.
No, I'm not ready to share. It took you however many months to share. I
Yeah.
can wait a bit.
you can see that today.
Sure what?
I was laughing so. I just tweeted something crazy. But
You
you know what I'm thinking we might need for the thumbnail of this video is that picture of you and TJ Dillashaw. He got popped for steroids, dude.
I know.
Really?
He's
I didn't know
gone
that.
for a while now. But
Did he give
I
you
don't know. No. I was thinking about enrolling in that Russian USADA program though. I heard it's pretty pretty fantastic.
Actually, I do have a question. Like you said, you buddied with the security guards. Yeah. Like in other interactions, I don't know at what capacity you had them. Like, what did they think of like when you go, "I'm an American"? Were they like, "Oh, sweet," or
yeah?
Were they like, "Cold War, bitch"?
I'm glad you brought that up because that was another like huge takeaway. Whenever you said you were from America, they were elated. They were like, "Oh my God, America! Like, that is my dream to go there. I have a cousin over there right now, or that's living in Atlanta or wherever. I would love to get there someday." So it was very cool to see like, or it made me realize or be grateful like that America is still kind of that viewed as that place where you go to start a new life, to make things better for yourself. And yeah, it made me be a lot more grateful for like the circumstance that I'm in, and like there's not really anything I can be upset about.
Really quick, I just want to interject, but everybody speaks really good English by the sounds of it?
No.
Oh, okay, because you're like talking how, not at all. Okay.
Like, it depends on the person. Almost all of the young people, they know English to some capacity.
Yeah, totally.
To what extent that is, it's very like it can vary. But yeah, definitely some interactions are tough. Were tougher than others. I was all right because the main thing that you run into that is at restaurants.
Okay.
So the thing I learned was "Это пожалуйста," which is "this please." I just like point to things.
Yeah.
So that served me well.
And are the menus in English and Russian, or just all?
Depends on the place you go.
That's crazy.
So like those
You don't
big
even know
picture
what you're
things,
getting?
like they would have like, what is weird though is like they'd have like all the items that are listed in it in Russian, and it would say like cheeseburger. But you see the picture and it's got like a shit ton of things on it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So and another thing is, like Russian doesn't translate to English very well. Like I was reading signs, like they'd have signs posted in like a bathroom, and just like the wording of it didn't fit. And I was like, it's just weird how it doesn't translate.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But I wanted to talk about because something that you mentioned before, and I was kind of judgy about it because I was like, or I wanted to be pissy about it. But you said that you met a Russian in Italy, and they said how were they living in Italy?
So this was a slight conversation. We're on a train. We're talking. It was a group of 3 of us. We're going back to Florence. We were coming from somewhere, and this girl was by herself, and just somewhat, it was a tight train. We were all crammed, and somehow she kind of got interjected in our conversation. She ends up chatting with us. She's like, "Okay, where are you guys from? You're from the U.S. Wow, that's incredible." We get into that talk and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we're like, "Where are you from?" And she's like, "Oh, actually, I'm from Moscow. I'm here studying for school education." And one of the things I said, I was like, "Wow, that's incredible. Like, how is that like?" And that's where the whole conversation just like boof. And she goes, I'm so happy to get out of there. I never want to go back. I'm going to do everything I can to not return to Russia. And I'm out right now, and I have zero intentions to return."
Yeah.
And we were all just like, whoa. It literally was just like, Jesus.
Talk about killing the vibe.
We were having a great convo.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and so that was one of the things I asked you before you left. Like, I'm curious to see how you'll be when you come back after. That's my experience.
So yeah, that's where I was like, I wanted to be like pissy, like no, I'm sure they love it there, like where they live and all that sort of thing. But after being there, I can totally understand her viewpoint because like the conversations that I had with people. Like I just mentioned how they viewed America. It's that place that provides them hope. They would love to be here if they had that opportunity. And like, and this kind of ties into like, they were very eager. They would some of the conversations I had. They'd ask about Trump, and I just give like a very neutral stance, like I don't really care for him, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd ask him
Did
like,
you bring your red hat?
no. But I would also ask them, because I wanted to know, but how they viewed Putin and kind of their situation. And the reaction I got is kind of like, they're just stuck. Especially the young people,
Yeah.
they don't have a very favorable opinion on Putin. They're at a point now where they tolerate him, but it's just frustrating because they have freedom. Everything's very capitalist. You get to express yourself how you want to. You have all those freedoms up until a point. Like if you have all those freedoms, but if you go to challenge the people at the top or Putin or whatever, that's where issues start to arise. And just having that knowledge of I don't have that freedom to challenge the people that I disagree with.
Yeah.
I could definitely, I felt bad and I had a lot of empathy for their situation. And the other thing is, like, no matter how many bad things or what kind of opinion I stated about Trump, he's gone in 4 years at the very max.
Yeah, you don't have them.
Putin, they're like, we hope he's out in a decade.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, it's just a crazy, crazy situation that they're in. And yeah, it's kind of sad because that's the one thing. Like, I was talking to one kid and he was saying, like, there was kind of like a misinterpretation, or I think I misunderstood, or that he maybe miscommunicated. But what I think he was trying to say is, like, he didn't necessarily agree with gay marriage, but he wants to be in a place that, even though I don't agree with it, it should be allowed, and people should be allowed to express themselves, and it shouldn't be like shunned or frowned upon by the culture of the society. So that's like, I could totally see how that lady that you ran into, how she had that viewpoint.
And we were even like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I asked that. Like, because we were so energetic chatting, and then, but yeah, it's just something where it's like, whoa.
Yeah, but
that is intense.
I definitely do think, I don't think it's like, I want the best for them. Like, I want the best for that country, and I think that they do have, like, things in place that could lead to improvement.
One thing,
so we'll see.
You were just saying, like, they're asking about Trump, and even being in other foreign countries, it seems like everybody knows everything about America, in a sense.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything. For a weird example, we were in Naples, and we were in this bar getting sauced and tossed and having these beers, and basically we ended up playing movie charades with these Italians.
Yep.
And everybody's acting out. Like, at one point, this girl gets down on a knee, pulls out a big bow, and lets go an arrow, and then one guy yells, "Revenant!" and like stuff like that, where it was just crazy. Yeah. All I'm saying is they knew movies, they knew everything. They knew all this American culture. And so I was just curious, did you ever pick up on those things?
Yeah, so I ran into one kid, and he was saying, like, he just starts explaining, like, I learned English from TV shows. Like,
I think that's so cool.
And he was just starting naming all of these TV shows, and I knew, like, one or two. It's like How I Met Your Mother, I knew. Yeah. And all these other ones, I was like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Can't relate. But it is crazy how, and then another one, I added one of the kids at the skydiving place on Instagram, and on his Instagram story today was a picture of The Social Network, the movie, and the caption was "Learning English," and I was like, "Damn, that's cool." Like,
yeah, I think it's also like the internet was the key for a lot of people to the outside world.
Yeah.
On a more massive scale, obviously.
Yeah, you're
prior
right.
Internet that still existed, but for that kid to be able to sit there and learn from movies, obviously the movies aren't necessarily online, but the example I'm thinking of in my head is the rapper Rich Brian. It was Rich Chega before.
Yep.
He learned English from YouTube videos, and he's a rapper in English.
Yeah,
and
that's so
he grew up
crazy.
in Indonesia.
That is
and it's
wild.
like, do you know how cool that is to just? But and then also like cool from our perspective that like we're the place that everyone cared so much about.
Exactly.
And I don't know, and just to be fortunate enough to be born here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know,
And it is a big deal. I mean, you said it as well, but just the fact that we are able to leave and check these places out, so to speak, and see what because I mean, think about it from a lot of the people you met. That's where they could potentially be stuck there, so to speak, the rest of their lives. Yeah. And that's just it's a wild thing in of itself.
yeah, it's just sad people get stuck places.
Yeah, and I really, as far as the importance of traveling, I really like you become much more understanding and tolerant of different kinds of people, and you're more like eager to try to understand what they're trying to say or how they're trying to say it. Because I feel like a lot of people, they're like, they're very like uptight, or like if they don't say it the right way, they totally discard them, or they don't give them the time of day to explain themselves.
Yeah,
I think it's really important to hear people out and try to figure out.
Yeah, especially when people are speaking your language. Like when I see someone struggling with English, I really try hard to pay attention to them because it's like, you're coming to me. Because if when I had a bunch of international students, it's like, hey, I don't know a lick of your language, like at all. Yeah. But you're coming to me with English, so I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and then like listen intently.
That was another thing when we were over there, and like if we were going shopping or something, and I asked them English, like, do you know English, whatever, and they'd start like trying to explain, or I'm asking them like what size this shirt is, and they're not quite understanding, and they'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, my English is very bad, I'm so sorry. Like I couldn't even count how many times I heard, I'm so sorry, my English is bad. Yeah. I'm like, you have you should not be apologizing to me right now.
I could not do it.
Yeah, like you were speaking way.
Is worse.
Yeah, I was about to say you were speaking way better English than my Russian is. So yeah, definitely don't apologize. But.
Yeah, if you had to try and boil it down in like one sentence, what was your takeaway, or what did you learn, either about yourself, about Russia, about anything? That you like to skydive?
Skydive. It would be. It'd probably be what I was saying earlier about I found out that I have a really strong interest in like understanding people and using, I mean, it's more of a sentence. So if that's a sentence, it'd be, I have a strong interest in understanding people.
Sure. Yeah.
And then using that interest to make better decisions. So I thought a lot about like how I would apply it to like a business industry. Or I look forward to figuring out ways to apply like that to a
Mr.
to a job.
Mr. Bezos.
But
yeah,
that would have to be it.
Yeah, would you go back?
Yeah,
Visit?
I would love to go back.
Is that pretty easy to do? If you're not with like a school in a sense?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you need a visa. Yeah. In the visa process, like ours was a breeze because like our professor did it, and we didn't have to really do anything. But I'm pretty sure if you were to go back, you need a visa. It is definitely a place I would love to go back. I would love to take my family there. I don't know how down they are to travel that long, but St. Petersburg was a beautiful place.
Yeah, did you get any? I mean, you've been to Europe and stuff before. You've seen those sculptures.
It was a little different. What I really like, the architecture was similar. I would say it was similar to Amsterdam. Like you got, as far as like just the city buildings, like there were different colors. It'd be like a pastel green, a baby blue, next to a pink building.
No, that's cool.
But what was different than Amsterdam was like the cathedrals, and I really liked their use of gold. So you'd have like this really pretty blue and white church with like these gold domed domes on top of them, and it just looked so cool. And yeah, just the color gold makes everything look so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Anything else you wanted to ask him?
No, not really. How does it? What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna touch about. I wanted to mention the differences between Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
just quickly.
Curious.
So St. Petersburg is like the cultural capital. Very artsy. People are like kind of go at their slower pace. They're more like you see like it's a little friendlier vibe.
And how far is
Do they smile at you?
Not quite that far, but
How far away are those two?
it was a 3 or 4 hour train ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Polar Express.
Yeah, Polar Express. High speed Polar
What was the
Express.
weather like?
Oh yeah.
Beautiful. They say you get 50 sunny days in St. Petersburg a year. We probably got 13 of them over there. It rained pretty good for like one day.
Like what temperature?
Anywhere from
Fahrenheit, please.
during the day it was probably most days were probably in the mid to upper 60s.
That's cool.
We had
that's
quite a
not
few
bad.
days in the 70s.
Perfect bomber jacket weather.
Perfect. But okay, so when we first got there, this is an interesting point. When we first got there, it was beautiful, probably 70 and sunny, and I wanted to walk around and kind of get a feel for like our little area. And I get in, take a shower, put on shorts, a t-shirt, and I got half calf socks or whatever. Walk outside.
Important detail.
Thank you for that.
Because
Go ahead.
everybody wears like short socks there. They don't wear like, which is, I don't know, totally unnecessary detail. I don't know why I included it.
I was gonna say you're doing well with your story.
I was about to
You
as
just
well.
jinxed
Damn it. But
Get outside.
I get outside. Thank you.
Half calves.
And everybody is in like winter coats, long sleeves and jeans. Crazy. Like they hate the sun or something. They just dress super. It was very rare to see people, even on the very nice days, in short sleeves. Our whole group would be in short sleeves, and it'd probably be, besides our group, it'd probably be like 3 out of the 10 people you saw on the street would be in short sleeves. But
A lot of Italians, it would be like 90 degrees out, and they'd be wearing pants and like a button up or something. And it's just like, I don't
What's
know
up
how
with that?
that's possible.
they dress, I'm sure in Italy.
They always look nice.
Yeah,
honestly.
in Italy especially, but
Yeah.
Russia too. Like they dress very nice and
They wear shirts like this.
no.
I don't know what's going
There's
on.
some
with
there.
that
I mean, there are some Russian. There's like a
Some nice
style.
corporate sellout.
shirt. Yeah.
So back to Moscow and St. Petersburg.
Yeah. So that's
right.
I've talked a decent amount about St.
All right,
Petersburg.
that's all. No.
But Moscow's, so there's like there's where we stayed was called Moscow City, and that's like the kind of like it reminded me like a Chicago, like but it's very very small. Like it's like a small little island, probably.
Island?
I think it is an island. Like it's surrounded by a little water, and like you have to take a bridge too. But it's like right in the middle of the city. I could be wrong with the whole island thing, but anyways. But there's like 12 skyscrapers, and it's like the business center, and there's 7 skyscrapers in the process of being built. So it's very cool to see like this city in the making kind of ordeal. And they kind of think that once like sanctions get lifted from Russia, that Moscow has a chance to like take off as far as the business industry goes. And in that area, or in Moscow in general, it's a lot more faster paced, very business-like. A lot of like people are much more like stern, or you kind of get that vibe.
Sure.
And then the other part of it was it's very it's like the national capital, so you get like a Washington D.C. feel. Again, haven't been to Washington D.C., so I can't give a personal
You with these
evidence.
references.
Yeah. But it's very like, this is Russia, this is who we are, and they have like a ton of like monuments. They have like this area that we went down that had like during Soviet era, it had like different buildings for the different provinces.
Did you ever go in museums?
Provinces. I did go in St. Petersburg, not in
Okay.
Moscow.
Any like USSR stuff that was crazy?
Yeah, so that in Moscow was the coolest because we went down like this. There's like this huge gold fountain, and there's like these girls and like gold statues of girls around it, and it was like one for each of the provinces
I
of
like
the
what
USSR.
they do with gold.
of the USSR. So that was really cool to see. Like you saw like the Georgia girl, the Latvia girl, Croatia, Ukraine, etc., etc. And then all around that, you had like these huge buildings for each of those provinces. So we didn't get to go inside of them because of our like the tour that we were on. It was just her explaining it. But another thing, especially that I noticed in Moscow, was like we went to, it was called like Victory Park or something like that, and they had this huge like World War II monument, and so just like understanding that these guys have been through a lot.
Yeah, weren't you there on V-Day?
Yeah, on Victory Day.
Yeah.
That was in St. Petersburg.
Wow.
Yeah. But just understanding that there's a lot of like pain, death, especially Russia.
Yeah.
There's just been so much that country and culture has been through.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like kind of it's hard to describe that feeling that you get because we don't really have anything to compare.
Back-to-back World War champs, baby.
But like we didn't have a battle on this soil.
You have a shirt that says that?
No.
No.
Not that much of a dick.
I didn't know if you did. I mean,
This podcast is over. So we just got 2 minutes left, but how'd it feel to be the first guest on Please Shut Up?
yeah,
Pretty great. I'm glad to be here.
welcome.
Yeah. It was definitely a fun time to be on here. I'm glad I got to.
Sure, dude.
That's the
Thanks
one
for
thing is
sharing.
that I definitely am trying to figure out ways to share the experience because I think that's the most important part is sharing what you've learned. But
Amen, bro.
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, you definitely got better at telling stories.
You did, dude.
All right,
I'm
all right.
impressed.
Good to hear that.
Brad
That
Austin,
makes me happy.
storyteller.
Yep,
pretty
there we
good.
go.
Good work,
Cool
dude.
deal.